Hi everyone, it's Harry. I've been a bit for since I've created a new vlog. I've been waiting on the Bank of Canada to see where they're at with their mortgage rates. I've been expecting them to hold steady at for a couple, actually the last couple of rate announcements, and they've finally done it, where they've held the overnight rate steady at 2.75. That equates to roughly about a 4.5% mortgage rate, plus or minus, depending whether you're doing variable or fixed. So we're in that range. And we knew this was about to happen because really inflation has been muted. And I didn't see the Bank of Canada wanting to juice the economy, although we're starting to finally see some effects of the Trump tariffs, where unemployment's up in the in eastern Canada and so forth, but nothing serious yet, and we haven't seen really a lot of inflation with respect to pricing on goods yet. So I thought they should take a wait and see case, and they've finally done it, because the previous one rate drop in March, they were a bit on the fence, and they decided to be proactive and do a rate reduction. So I can see this rate reduction lasting till we see some more effects in the back half of the second quarter, or maybe even the third quarter. But one thing that's interesting, if you're in a Calgary market, what has that resulted in? Basically, we're flat. People are still nervous. Its inventory isn't the issue right now, and it's the buyers have decided to take a little bit of a hiatus while they try to sort out their financial situation and all these uncertainties in the market, because sales overall are off about 25% year over year, and even on the 5-year average we're seeing that same roughly about the same number. If it's not 25, it's between 20 to 25. Prices have basically flattened, although they did take an uptick from overall average prices for last year was in a 607 range. We're at about sitting around close to 640, so we're up about, I want to say, let's call it 5% overall. However, it depends on the category you're looking at. That's more attuned to the detached market. I'd say the other markets are around that 3% range. What we're seeing right now is people are nervous, as we would expect them to, and we've seen price drops and housing start drops mainly in BC and Ontario, and obviously net migration is slowed because of the immigration change, and folks are now concerned. There's not as much of an impetus to move from BC and Ontario to Alberta, although it's still there. Everyone's looking for the other shoe to drop to see the effects. So overall, what do I see for the Calgary market? I'd see the prices steady to last year. I think there might be some downward draft on the pricing still to happen, as if we start to see some slowing. Although the Bank of Canada is trying to use a hammer on their monetary policy to try to ease that by dropping interest rates, but with inflation not being an effect, and balanced off by this temporary removal of the carbon tax for the consumer side, it's helped inflation slow a little bit. So it'll help overall. I've polled a few of my building friends, and they haven't seen a price increase on their goods over last year due to this Trump tariffs, because obviously we've seen some drop in carbon tax rates and so forth, although they only apply more residential. So they've kind of flat on their costs. And going forward, I think it'd be flat too, because a lot of the products, I would say 90% of the products that they use in building a residential home is Canada based. So we are not going to be affected from a from a construction cost scenario with respect to pricing, what it may be, I think the biggest effect really can be this potential recession that might or might not take place, which would push downward pressure on pricing. We'll see. We'll just have to see. But if you're a buyer, good time to buy. I don't, you could wait a little bit if you are financially uncomfortable, but there is a buying opportunity because if these tariffs go away, I expect there'll be immediate price increase because there's a lot of folks sitting on fence on this buying stage where we'll see an uptick in pricing, and it'll happen relatively quickly. You won't have time to respond. So if you're financially stable, it's not a bad time to buy. On the sell side, I've been telling all my sellers to wait a little bit to get some clarity. Unless you're forced to sell, then sell it as soon as possible because the bad news hasn't really hit us yet. They've slowed the market, but they really haven't hit us yet in the sense of a recession. So, but if you could wait a year before you sell, wait the year. You might find that waiting will potentially, if the tariffs are a non-event, see increasing pricing on your side, or the tariffs might go away. So that could be helpful to you. So those are my thoughts right now. Hopefully, if you've got any real estate questions, you'd reach out, or if you need some help, please reach out as well. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Bye now.